So Zeta has 3 rounds.
So in the same interview that was going on, right? And what
Yes.
was your answer, especially to explain your framework?
I was asked very few manual testing questions also. There will be a separate pipeline for you for automation testing.
So Yashwant, I want to know how you have prepared. For example, you have given before Zeta also, you have basically given more interviews, right?
After every interview, I used to write my interview experience in a
Right.
notepad.
Generally, people ask me also, right? So how should I answer this question, sir? How much test cases I can automate?
They would definitely ask this question. I faced this question many times. Everything is fine if you're doing manually, it is working. You are using automation, you're using Selenium, you're using a dot click operation, it did not work. Then what will you do?
So welcome, guys. We are 1 minute early. All right. So today we will discuss about a couple of important tips. Okay, as well as I have Yashwant with me. So Yashwant will basically going to discuss how he's able to basically crack the interviews, right? How to target good companies, right? And there are a few other things, right? For example, very important thing that we need to pay attention is whenever learning part is very important, where you are learning a particular course, you are learning a topic, like that is the important thing. But the most important thing is that you have to basically see the mock interviews, which is also important. You have to prepare very well with your mock interviews. And another important point is that you should know which company you need to target. Because see, I'll tell you a very important thing. I have like 12 plus years experience and I have changed almost like 6, 7 plus companies. Right. Very strange thing is that you will never find a good company. That is a very strange thing that I'll tell you. Okay. If you agree with this point, give me yes in the chat. You will never find a great company. That is the most important thing. Okay. Overall, you will never find a very good company overall. Okay. It will be like a learning process, or you will be on a, so when I was into a Accenture, right? One of my manager who had almost like 30, 25, 27 years in IT. Can you imagine 25, 7 years in IT? He told me one thing. Okay. He told me that, okay, Pramod, you will never find a great company. It is just that it is, you will be keep searching the company throughout your career life. Okay. A good company, you will be keep on searching. Okay. So if it is money that you want, okay, for example, some people will say, no, don't go with money, don't go with the passion, go with the passion, right? That is, again, I'll tell you, that is a wrong thing. I'll tell you why. Because money is actually one of the best motivation, to be honest. Okay. So when I was a manual tester, right? It is actually, I wanted to double my salary, I wanted to get extra salary, but I didn't want to go towards the development side because I was not that great. Okay. You can say that also. But I wanted to change myself to automation, right, at the time. And I knew that I can increase my 40% extra salary if I basically learn automation, right? So money was the exactly the motivation, to be honest, at that time. Okay. So it is what I generally recommend to all of you also is, if you have money motivation, right? That is a fine thing. Don't feel shy on that part. Understood? How many of you understood this point? And how many of you agree with this point? Give me yes in the chat. If you have a money motivation, right? Okay, Pramod, I will target good companies, but my target is that I need to target a good product-based company which give me good package also, which I am satisfied. Of course, you will be never satisfied, but again, your responsibility is you should start targeting the next company. Okay, I'll tell you a very important thing. When I joined, whenever I join a company, right? So last 3 years back, I have, for example, let me tell you a very simple scenario. When I was in Wingify, right? The moment I have joined Wingify, right? I was targeting for another higher company. So this is how, but far sighted you have to see yourself. Okay, the moment you join any existing company, right? Keep giving interviews. This is what my recommendation also. Never stop giving interviews. Okay, this is one of the learning that I have given you also. Okay, never stop. All the people who are basically right now in the job, okay, all the people who are basically in the job, right? I would recommend you to keep preparing, continuously preparing. Okay, continuously prepare and always try to give interviews if possible. Okay, my recommendation. When I was in Wingify, right, I used to give every bi-weekly Saturday, right? Almost like in 1 month, I was giving like 2, 3 interviews, even though I had a very good opportunity in Wingify. Work-life balance was good still. Understood? How many of you understood this point? So my recommendation, that's what I'm recommending. So I'm just giving you some of the learning point. Learning point is target good companies. First point, right? Second thing is money motivation is good. If you have a money motivation, I want to get higher salary, that is fine. Third thing is target good product based company, which is important that you need to target. And third thing you can say that, okay, keep searching for the job. Never settle, right? Never settle. Actually, how many of you have OnePlus? The tagline is never settle, right? Yes, exactly. You need to do. If you already have a job, never settle. That is the most important thing. Never settle. Search for the next good company. Okay. When I was in Creo, I was searching. I was searching, keep on searching, keep on searching. Found a good company like Wingify. Switched. When I was in Wingify, working there for 1 year, after I found a better company, BrowserStack, switch. When I was in BrowserStack, I was doing good work. It was amazing. Then I found a better company. Take on cert, switch. Understood? This is what exactly you need to do. Okay. And a couple of times, I don't recommend to stay in company for more than 3 to 5 years. Okay. Understood? How many of you understood this point? This is just a learning I'm giving you. Okay. I won't recommend you to stay back for more than 3 to 5 max. This is 3 to 4 years maximum. Okay, this is what even I have done it. The reason I'll tell you what is it. First of all, after 3 years, right, your learning will stop. Okay. First of all, after 3 years, right, learning will be saturated. In the same company, if you are right, then learning will be saturated. This is just a very important thing I'll tell you. Madi is saying after 2 years, 2 years only it stops, right? I tell you, right. 1 year you will learn about company. Second year you will implement whatever you have learned, and after that third year, right, it will be repetition of the task. Third year will be like repetition of the task. Right now, even if I have many students who are into their 3 years, right? They are just doing repetition of the work. Even as an automation engineer, okay, I'm telling you the same thing. So when you join a new company, you will have fresh challenges, fresh framework. That the broader you have, the more number of companies you have, right? That is also a good thing because you will know how other companies are working. That is most important thing. Understood? So let's do one thing. Let's bring Yashwanth, right? Let's discuss about how Yashwanth was able to grab an amazing offer, right? And what was his strategy, what was the question he has done, right? And everything. Let's welcome Yashwanth, right? And Yashwanth will talk about. Okay, so let me ask to unmute, and I will also unpin myself also. Okay, welcome Yashwanth. Yes, welcome.
Thanks a lot, from
Everyone, everyone, the voice is fine and everyone is cool. Give me yes in the chat, everyone. Okay, good. Okay, welcome, Ashwin. Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Hi guys.
All right. So, Yashwant, just about yourself, right? How much experience you have and what was your experience total? Tell me.
Cool.
Yes.
So yeah, as you know, my name is Yashwanth. So I hail from a city of Hyderabad.
Okay.
So I have a total industry experience of about 2.6 years
Okay.
as of now.
Okay.
I have worked with organizations such as Micron. It's into semiconductor manufacturing of memory solutions.
Okay.
And currently, I'm working with Zeta. So
Mm.
if you guys are working, if you might have somewhere used Sodexo card, it's one of
Mm.
the product of Zeta. Apart
Okay.
from that, if you see PayZapp is also from Zeta.
Okay.
And also all the HDFC banking, right? So all the backend is done by Zeta itself. So it's a basically fintech unicorn, you can say. So yeah, it's under the Directy org. So yeah, currently I'm working as SD2 over here.
Okay.
So it's pretty much that.
Great. See, so my question to you is right, within a span of 2.5 year, I think you have a very decent package. We'll not discuss that, okay? That is a confidential, of course. But I'm pretty much sure it is in two figures in L, right? That
Exactly. Yeah.
right? So that's I think when I got to know about the package, right? I think it was very decent, to be honest, very decent. I was very happy with that you have got it that much of package, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you is right, what are the skill set right now you're working on? I mean, are you working into the automation mostly, or is it like only the manual work they have given you, but automation? No. Profile is
So
automation.
yeah. So first of all, as you know, I work as SDate too, right? So SDate
Mm.
basically stands for Software Development Engineering Test. So it's a
Okay.
complete pure automation profile. Okay.
Okay.
So whatever the interview which has been taken to me and all, it is
Mm.
completely taken on automation skills itself.
Mm.
So currently I work on this technology stack of Selenium, TestNG, and Java.
Okay.
I would say. So apart from that, we are using REST Assured for API testing, and we
Okay.
use JMeter for performance testing.
Okay.
So that's where the tech stack is. Currently, I mostly work on automating a website. You can say it's a backend. It's you can say it's a backend website where it is
Mm.
used internally by one of the client.
Okay.
So that's where I'm mostly working on. Apart from that, I would be creating Jenkins pipelines for integrating all of these. So we use a inbuilt chat platform called flock where
Mm.
once the Jenkins pipelines is completed, right? So you will get a report of how many passed, how many failed. You get an email. So
Mm.
integration of all of this stuff, right? It's what maintained by you can say these are my main roles and responsibilities. So yeah,
So mostly, I think that is very a generic kind of stack, right? Which is Selenium plus Java, where we have TestNG also, followed by Maven. And in the CI/CD environment, generally we use
yeah,
Jenkins mostly, right?
yeah,
Log
yeah,
is nothing but guys, it is a alternate of Slack. Okay, it's nothing but it's a copy clone of Slack actually,
true,
to be honest. So yeah, pretty much the same stack generally we use in maximum number of companies, right? So I just want to know, right, what was the when you are because Zeta is a very good product-based company,
true,
right? It's
true.
a very which location right now it is in
Yeah, currently I'm working from Hyderabad. It is
Hyderabad.
in
Okay,
Mumbai, Bangalore as well.
okay,
Yeah,
it's in
they have
Bangalore.
a very good lot of openings. If anyone, if you are interested, you can reach out to promote.
Right, yeah,
I can
right.
help you guys.
So anyone who is interested
Yeah,
in the profiles, right? Definitely. Okay, not in
yeah, they
everyone. You can reach out to personally Yashwant. Okay.
true. Yeah.
I will discuss. Okay, we'll
They
add
pay
these details
very
on sj.club also. Don't worry, guys. Okay. So my question to you is, how was your interview in Zeta, right? How many interviews that you have for with 2 years experience, right? How many interviews are there total?
okay. So basically, right, so Zeta has 3 rounds. So
Okay.
two technical rounds, one managerial round, and
Okay.
apart from this, there will be an HR round. Okay.
Okay.
So if you talk about the technical rounds, right?
Mm.
So for the first technical round, it usually revolves around mostly DSA. Okay.
Okay.
So as you know, right, all of the product-based companies
Mm.
mostly they first check your DSA skills. So without
Mm.
DSA, I don't think you will be able to move forward itself. They would
Mm.
every round is a knockoff round, you can say. So
Mm.
if you do well, you move to the next round. Otherwise, your interview will be done at that point of
Mm.
time. Okay.
Okay.
So the pattern which I see, right? So mostly they usually ask you from the lead code basic and medium
Basic questions,
questions
no?
is
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
So at least in the point of view of testing, right? They mainly focus on arrays, strings, hash maps,
Mm.
stacks, and all.
Mm.
Um, so for me, they were asking. They gave around 4 coding questions in the first interview itself. So apart from that, they asked me like, what is your technology stack which you have been previously using, and what kind of application you were working on,
Mm.
and what is your framework? They will. This is the main one of the important one I would say.
Okay.
Like they will ask you to explain your framework. How is it constructed? So based on that, they will be understanding like whether this guy knows what he's working on or what he worked on, right?
Mm.
So they basically judge you on that. And apart from that, they would be asking you some Selenium related questions. Like
Mm.
they'll give you a live website, any website, and they'll ask you to write a generic XPath so that let's say there are many cards in one
Mm.
page. So
Mm.
you should be able to write one XPath where you should be able to identify all the cards in one go, right?
Mm.
So apart from that, there are XPath access, right? If you see following sibling, preceding sibling, ancestor, all of these.
And
So
they
based
don't
on
let
that,
you use the selector hub, right? That is the
yeah.
important.
So basically, in the interviews, they tend to see that you write on your own, but
Okay.
in work, you usually use a selector sub. That's how it works.
That's why I recommend also, right? See, guys, in interview, they will never let you use some kind of tools. So even that's why I told you, right? Never use selector hub initially, right? Whenever you are working, whenever you are learning, make sure you know how to create XPath, how to basically work with CSS selectors, right? All these things are very, very important. Yashwant, one thing before we move further with the interview, right? You said, okay, DSA questions, they are basically asked, right? Mostly
Yeah,
DSA question, right?
yeah,
When we say DSA, it is mostly in the Java. It is mostly arrays, strings,
true.
right? Not the advanced DSA we are discussing, right?
Yeah,
Try and
exactly.
everything, right?
No one will ask
Basic.
you trees, tries, or
Right.
heaps or something of that kind. At
Mm,
least for the SDET role,
mm,
with this years of experience, right?
mm,
Definitely they won't be expecting you
mm.
to answer those, right?
Right.
So they know what is going on, right?
Right, right, right. So mostly arrays, strings,
Yeah,
hash map. Hash map is because of Java, guys. Hash map,
yes,
hash table because of that. Lead code 15 challenges that I generally recommend to everyone. Okay, at least minimum if you are minimally preparing for automation, right, do at least 15 easy question of lead code that everyone should use to. Well, I mean, you have to do anyhow. Okay.
Yeah, lead code is definitely a must. It will be a savior for you. So basically, once you do lead code questions, right, you
Hmm.
will basically understand the patterns which are
Okay.
going on.
Hmm.
Once you do a set of questions, okay, so whenever a question is given to you, you might not do that question previously as well,
Hmm.
but you will get a logic like, okay, I might use any of these two. Okay,
Hmm.
you can try one of the pattern. It might not work, but you'll get an approach, right, to start with. So that's what they tend to look for, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So Samjit asking, sir, lead code DSA challenges. See, mostly DSA challenges 15 we have included in our course also. Okay, don't worry. One more thing, okay, Yashwant. So before
Yeah.
we move further, right? So in the same interview that was going on, right? And what
Yeah.
was your answer, especially to explain your framework? Okay, I
Okay.
really want to know because everyone wants to know also, right? How you have explained specifically. Can you give details? How was
Okay.
your framework? What was your framework?
So yeah, true. Okay. So first of all, you can explain. For my case, right? So
Hmm.
when I have joined, they were migrating from UFT ALM to a open source BDD based framework.
Okay.
So I started from that point of time. So
Hmm.
this is what it was previously looking like. So when I joined, they moved to this. Is what the first statement of mine. Then you
Hmm.
can start with the utility files which are present. So we have a common utility files. So like let's say you have the most commonly used operations, right?
Hmm.
So they you can store all of them in separate class files. So like let's
Okay.
say all the methods related to web applications, all the methods
Hmm.
related to database applications,
Hmm.
or you want to connect to the database, or you want to close a connection from the database, or
Hmm.
you want to run a query into a
Utilities mostly,
database.
right?
Yeah.
Utilities.
So all
Okay.
the utilities are placed at some point of time,
In a
at some
particular
place.
folder. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are taken as reference into the main framework. Okay. So
Hmm.
since I'm using a BDD based framework, right?
Hmm.
I explained him what are the advantages of BDD and why
Hmm.
we are using BDD instead of TDD, right?
Hmm.
So like better collaboration. It gives you instead of using a separate data to retrieve the data, we will be using Excel or JSON, right? So instead of
Hmm.
that, you can use examples, background,
Hmm.
scenarios, and all. So you can explain all these advantages. Once
Hmm.
this is done, any BDD framework you take, it has basically three main files. You can say the feature files,
Hmm.
definition, and the
Hmm.
actual business logic. Okay.
Right. Right. Right.
So the feature files is where you write all your scenarios.
Hmm.
Scenarios need not be a single test case. It can be a
Right.
set
Right.
of test cases.
Hmm.
You can talk about that. You can say about step definition, which acts as a bridge between your feature file and your actual business logic.
Hmm.
And in the business logic is where you can explain these kind of things over here. Let's say page factory or page object model or
Hmm.
these kind of design patterns are used so as to create your actual business logic. If you
Hmm.
give these insights, right, you will be impressed a bit.
So
So
mostly you are saying
yeah,
folder structure properly you have discussed. Then you
yeah,
have discussed which pattern you have used. In
yeah,
the Cucumber BDD, you have discussed about okay, feature file is important and action file is important and core logic is important. Three
yeah,
files you have
yeah,
explained
yeah.
side by side, right?
True. Hmm.
Anything about reporting, anything else? What else?
Yeah, I was about to come over there. So
Mhm.
basically, we were using Extend Report at that point of time.
Mhm.
So how is it integrated? And you need not know how is it integrated also, but you
Right,
should
right,
be telling them like what is the reporting technology which you are using. So
right,
like
right.
what kind of fields are coming up in the technology? How are you stacking your metrics to explain your peers or your superiors, right? Based
Mhm.
on that only, you will be calibrated in any organization. So you
Right.
should explain that. And
Mhm.
apart from that, you can explain your framework stack as well. So like we were using Git for version control, we were using
Mhm.
Azure DevOps for CI/CD,
Right.
and also test management, right? We were using Azure DevOps itself. Some people might be using Zero or something. They can
Right,
explain
right.
that also. So apart from that, to incorporate BDD, I was working on .NET. Then I moved to Java. So
Mhm.
in .NET, there is a NuGet concept of NuGet
Like
package.
new
So
get
what all NuGet
package manager.
packages are
Mhm.
required? You can explain them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think this will pretty much be
Right.
okay to
Okay.
enough for the interviewer to get an understanding what is happening.
Okay,
Right.
got it. So overall, in a nutshell, you explained the proper folder structure, which pattern you have used, which
Yeah.
reporting mechanism you have used, how you are running it through Git or Jenkins, right? In
Yeah.
case you, it was Azure DevOps and everything,
Yeah.
right? That we have discussed. I think pretty much it, right? Mostly in that
Yeah.
case, right?
If in
Uh,
some organization they use cloud-based testing also like Sauce Labs, Browser
Source Lab
Stack,
and
or
browser
Lambda
stack,
test,
right?
you
Yes.
can explain them also. That would be in
Mm.
addition to what you know. They will be really impressed if you know all of this because
And
most of the
what about
organization
showing? I
moving to
mean,
that
are you
side.
able to
Yeah.
showcase also something? Because generally, I recommend also in that time, are you able to showcase also that, okay, this is what I have done?
Yeah, if you have a personal project, right, you can just use GitHub Actions or something to store your project, and you can use any free trial version of any of these Project Stack or Lambda Test or
Mm-hmm.
anything. They basically just expose you an API. Using that, you can just create a Jenkins pipeline and run, right? Otherwise, all this it is very easy to integrate. You can watch any of Pramod's video to understand or any course. It's very easy to to run on these platforms. They're very seamless. Yeah,
So end to end, basically, you are saying ki,
yeah,
you should able to explain them end to end also, right? This was my test case. This is how it is running, right?
yeah. True.
That was it. Okay. Okay, great. And let's move back to one previous question. Okay. When you said, okay, suppose they ask you about five DSA question, right? How many of you are able to do it?
Uh, I was this was almost last interview for Zeta of in
Right.
my notice period. So
Mhm.
at this point of time, I was like I gave around 10 to 15 interviews at that point of time. So
Okay.
I was like very good at. So they were also similar questions of what were asked in my previous interviews
Okay. So
also.
you already
So
have
I
some
was able
experience.
to answer all of them, but
Huh.
they were expecting some optimization also in the code, which
Okay.
I could not do, but they were okay with what I have answered. So that's how it.
I mean, see, because see, I had a discussion with multiple students also on this. Okay. Sometimes, for example, five questions generally they ask, right?
True.
Some people told me, sir, we have not given any answer, still we got selected. Some people told me, sir, we have given one answer, still they have selected me. I think there is no generic pattern. It depends
Yeah.
upon what's your, are you very positive in that case, right? I think that will be motivated to all of you. Okay. If you're anyone who is
Even
watching,
though
just to
if
let you
you
know.
are not able to answer, right,
Mm,
if you just give the approach, like
mm,
how are you able to, how will you do this problem? Even though if you
mm,
are not able to get the
right.
final output,
Mm.
most of the interviewers will be okay with that.
What was
Out
the
of the
questions
five,
mostly? Do you remember anyone?
so yeah, let's say you have a string. Okay,
Mm,
they will ask you to give the frequency of each character. Okay,
okay.
that's a pretty basic one, you can say.
I think we generally
Uh,
do it in Java course, if you don't remember. By
yeah.
using hash map, there is one problem statement generally I do in hash map. I don't know if you're anyone here from the previous batch. We do this exercise. Anyways, next question. Yes, tell me.
Okay, so the other one was it's on linked list actually.
Okay.
So they asked me to just reverse a linked list.
Reversal English. Okay.
Yeah, the other one was like so there is a very common question you can say in stacks like using
Mm-hmm.
stacks will be using valid parentheses. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that's asked in most of the interviews.
Right.
If
It was
you
one of the basic question, right?
yeah
By using stack, guys, it is a question that you will find it most of the time. By using this tag, you have to find balancing the brackets in a statement,
yeah.
right? That is it.
So
What
the
else?
other one was like you need to do a right rotate for a array.
Okay.
So they would give
Rotation.
a number. Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Rotation ones. Okay.
Then the one of he felt a bit tough is like they asked to print in a spiral way for
Mhm.
a matrix
Okay, okay.
in a
That was
spiral
quite,
format.
I mean, see, Zeta is a very
Uh,
good product company, that's why
yeah.
they are asking two. That's a tough
Yeah.
question, by the way, I'm telling you.
The last one was very tough.
Mm.
I took a lot of time to answer as well.
Mm.
But what I say is like not in every organization they would be asking this stuff. So yeah, the previous ones which I have just told, right? So these are pretty basic. So what
Mm.
I would suggest is like if you are able to answer that level of questions, right? I would say you are definitely interview ready.
Mm. It means, I mean, see, overall, I would say don't get demotivated because, see, these are like top level companies, to be honest. Okay. Even in browser stack, they ask you rotation of arrays and everything, right? But again, overall, what they are judging is your, how are you trying even? That's exactly. Are you trying even? And can you give us something like brute force, what exactly how you can do it, right? So the more you practice, the more you understand. I think that is what
True,
important
true.
is that, right? Okay, good. And so after this, right, you had this interview, right? Then you explained Selenium framework. What else
Yeah.
they asked you on this part? Anything related to
Um,
API?
so that's where my first interview got ended.
Okay.
So they were just doing a basic check of how my programming skills were. So
Okay.
in the second interview,
Mm.
if I would say, so it again started with all of these questions, some of them which I've discussed previously.
Okay.
Here is where they ask you API related questions as well. So they
Yeah.
were expect so many of the openings which I saw as well, right? They are
Mm.
into API also. So
Mm.
even I have out of my 2 years in my previous organization, right? Mostly I
Mm.
worked in Selenium automation itself, but
Mm.
uh, I saw where the pattern is going. Everyone is moving to backend API. So I thought
API,
at least
yes.
I will learn the basics. So I just worked on maintenance of some APIs, right? So
Okay.
they will ask basic questions like how do you use some operations in Postman, like how do you pass your queries or how do you give an auth token of that kind.
Mm. Mm.
It's very basic expectations they will ask. So let's say that you have sent an API, a
Mm.
request. You got a response. What are the things you will validate, right?
Okay.
So let's say the response code or the
Mm.
response time. Let's say some field got changed.
Mm.
So what's the? Are you able to check the new field which got added? Are
Mm.
you able to write a JSON path to find that
Mm.
particular field?
Right, right.
So mostly they'll focus on your status codes. They ask the meaning of the status code, like when
Mm.
does this occur and how. One interesting question which I would say everyone should know is like, let's say you have a button in your website.
Mm.
You're doing a click operation on that,
Mm.
okay,
Mm.
manually, but nothing is happening
Mm.
once a click is done. They will
Mm.
ask you, how will you, as a tester, identify whether it's a front end issue or back end issue? Uh,
Mm.
so that's one interesting question which I thought. I
Mm.
mean, I saw. So that's where API testing came in my interview.
Mm. Right,
Um,
right.
apart from that, right? So they will ask you, like they ask, like how is your Azure pipeline works? I worked on .NET as I was saying, right?
Mm.
So how is my Azure pipelines working? They will not expect you to write like build the pipeline from scratch. Okay, someone might. I also said that like someone has built that. I have been using them, but they
Mm.
expect you to know like what is happening.
Sure.
So the developers would give a build from a build pipeline. Then
Mm.
there will be a separate pipeline for you for automation testing. So how
Mm.
is this pipeline built? So there will be a set of jobs which will be
Mm.
running. So what is the purpose of each job? And if you want to, if you have multiple level of environments, okay, then how will you deal them? So with a
Mm.
single change, how will you run all your test cases in a different environment?
Okay.
So that's what they were asking.
Before we move,
And
right, one thing, okay. So URL one, guys, what exactly they are asking is, suppose you have a web page where you have a button and that button is not working, right? So behind the scene, exactly this interviewer is asking is, when you click on this button, right, there must be a API request which will go to backend, right? So what you will do is you will open up a Chrome dev tool, you will open the network tab, you will verify if that API request is going on or not. So if it is a front end issue or back end issue, what you will do is, first of all, you will open this, you will see if API request is going on. If there is no API request, then definitely something is bad with front end. But if API request is going on, what is the response it is coming, you can tell them that this is what the response is coming, and this is exactly they are expecting. That you have an idea that what is going on. Front end is communicating with the API or not. If you have this idea, they want to ask this. Okay. They want to ask in that case. Clear? I think Samir and Palak are asking this question. Okay. What is the answer for this? Okay, good. Anyway, so okay, after this they ask you the basic questions of API, right? What else will they
yeah.
have asked you?
So they focus very carefully on very small basic things. So when I said that I was using version control as Git, okay. So they
Hmm.
have asked what is the difference between Git rebase and Git merge? Okay.
Git
So
merge and rebase, right? Hmm.
so those are some basic questions they expect from you, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So one more thing is always like in my resume, right? So I was working on C sharp and all. So
Hmm.
I saw that I was not getting much calls. So
Hmm.
what I did is that I saw some courses and I learned basic TestNG or JUnit framework
Hmm.
on myself. So,
Hmm.
I kept TestNG in my resume. So they
Hmm.
started asking me like what are the basic annotations which you use
Good test
in
engine.
TestNG?
Okay,
So
okay.
what is the structure of this XML file? What are the
Hmm.
tag structure of these tags? So let's say You have run some test cases in using this test example file. Some of them
Mm.
failed. How will you
Mm.
run only these failed test cases? Or
Retry logic, basically. Retry listener they want to hear,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and one more thing, they'll ask you what is what is a listener and how does it work,
Mm.
and they'll ask you like what is a data provider and all.
Mm.
The basic test engine related questions.
Right.
And apart from this, right, like they'll ask you like how will you maintain your dependencies and all. So we'll be using Maven
Maven, right?
to
Maven for this, right?
they might ask you a Maven test life cycle. I was asked very few manual testing questions also,
Okay.
like what is a STLC, what is
Mm.
the bug life cycle.
Bug like cycle,
Uh,
okay.
so yeah, so even with automation as well, right?
Mm.
So in the daily day-to-day work of the tester, manual testing is part of it. It might be
Mm.
10% or 20%, but they expect you to know the minimum like
Right.
testing techniques or of those kind. So that
Right, actually. They recommend the, I mean, see, maximum time, even if it is an automation or SZ related interview, right? I'm pretty much sure everyone will ask some questions of basics of manual testing, right? What is a
yes,
test plan, test cases, testing techniques, how you work with SDLC, STLC, what exactly you will do, how many test cases, give me an edge cases. So be prepared with that. That's what I highly recommend to everyone, right? Okay. So Yashwant, I want to know how you have prepared. For example, you have given before Zeta also, you have basically given more interviews, right? I remember,
yeah,
right? What
yes.
was your preparation? How was your process?
Okay. So after working 2 years in Micron, I
Hmm.
felt my learning really went down
No,
a bit.
degraded. Okay, mostly.
Yeah. So I thought it's the saturation which I could reach. I need to know more. So
Hmm.
as I was saying right from the starting, I was working on C sharp, but
Right,
I
right.
see most of the openings are in Java. So I was
Hmm.
very desperate to move to Java tech stack.
Hmm.
And I code in Java as well in lead code and everything. So I was
Hmm.
very desperate to move to that side.
Hmm.
So what I suggest for everyone and what I followed is basically you should definitely have a timeline and a roadmap. Without
Hmm.
this, all your work would go in vain, I would say.
Hmm.
So you will be continuously reading or putting your effort, but you will not definitely not find results. Uh,
Hmm.
so that happened with me. So that's why you can spend a week or two just have a timeline and
Hmm.
have a proper roadmap. That
Hmm.
will save you months of time,
Right,
is what
right.
I would say. Basically, first I started with Java basics, I would say.
Hmm.
You can say the basic syntax gives you a lot of confidence.
Hmm.
In interviews, right? Basically, they'll ask you either to write in a notepad or in a IDE.
Hmm.
I mean, in a online IDE where you will not have any suggestions. Okay,
Right, right,
so
right, right.
you should definitely have your syntax in your grip, in the grip, right?
Hmm.
So I started with basic Java like loops,
Hmm.
variables, data
Hmm.
types, what kind of exceptions can come up, and all of this. Then I
Hmm.
moved to Java advanced, you can say
Hmm.
object-oriented programming,
Hmm. Hmm.
classes,
Hmm.
then objects, then
Hmm.
you can say a high-level DSA, anything, right, of
Hmm.
that kind. So once I was good enough with this programming language, right,
Hmm.
then I started parallelly, I can say. You can, every day I used to learn one manual term.
Hmm.
I really worked very less on manual testing, but
Okay.
that's where my weakness is. Because of that, I got rejected in some interviews also. So
Because
I
of
thought,
manual testing, is it?
yeah, manual
That's
testing
strange.
questions. So I thought this is not how it should go. I will learn
Right.
any new term every time, every day.
Hmm.
So at least one new term which I
Right.
don't know. So I parallelly, right, I started working on Selenium because
Right, right.
most that's where my strength was. Because
Hmm.
mostly I worked on Selenium.
Hmm.
So in Selenium, right, I started with what is a framework, like
Hmm.
what are the difference between BDD and TDD. Then
Hmm.
uh, what is the Selenium WebDriver architecture? Then
Right.
how do you write an XPath? Then what are the common operations or the common exceptions you usually face in Selenium, right? They would
Hmm.
definitely ask this question. I face this question many times. What are the different exceptions you face in Selenium, and how do you resolve them? Not only
Hmm.
knowing the exceptions is enough. You should know how do you resolve them also in real
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
Then other question is like, what is the most challenging thing which you have done till now in your past experience? Is what they would ask that as well.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, yeah.
What was your answer
So
in that case? What was the
uh,
challenging thing?
I would say I was very new to testing at that point of time.
Okay.
Then I would say I saw there is a grid. Okay, over this grid, you cannot inspect the scroll. Okay,
Right.
yeah, but the grid at any point of time has only four columns visible to you. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
in the grid there are maybe 10 columns are there. Okay, you have to do some operation in the 10th column. So how will you go there? You are not able to use scroll. Uh, Nothing works. So after taking some time, right, what the best option which we found out was like there is an actions class in Selenium.
Right.
Okay,
Actions, right? Yes.
using keys and right key,
Hmm.
you can move cell by cell, take
You
the
can
column
basically use
name.
tab, 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 space, space,
Yeah,
space. Right? You can do
you can
multiple
s-
things, right?
you can check
Mm.
the column name whenever you reach the particular column. You can do the operation. They
Right.
were okay because I was very naive, right? I was just into automation.
Makes sense.
Uh,
Makes sense.
yeah,
At least you have given
and
some kind of basic overview. Oh, I mean,
yeah.
answers, like basically thing, right? Yes.
Yeah, you can say anything that I thought these were challenging to me. Someone
Ah,
might
makes
feel
sense. Makes
something else challenging, right? So you can
right.
say anything instead of saying that everything was normal and all.
Right,
You
right.
can
This
say
is one of the
something.
mistake people do actually.
Uh,
They say that okay, we didn't find anything, right? For example, a couple of times you will see these questions, right? How many test cases do you do per day, right?
yeah,
Nobody is interested in any answer, okay, to be honest. You can say roughly,
mm,
okay, 30, 40, whatever number X, Y, Z.
yes,
Nobody can verify number. So generally people ask me also, right? So how should I answer this question, sir? How much test cases I can automate? So answer is it can be for Yashwant, it can be 10. For me, it can be 20. For Deepak, it can be five only, right? It depends upon
yeah,
you, right? So these answers just rough how much confident you are. I think that's the answer for this. Okay,
yeah.
good. So that was your
So
preparation, right? And apart from that, did you take lot of time in preparation, or you start giving interviews side by side also
yeah,
whenever you're ready?
so interview, one thing you should know is like your preparation never ends. Okay.
Right, right, right.
So you should definitely start looking at opportunities once you gain little bit of confidence
Little
also.
bit of content, right?
Uh,
Yes.
so because you should understand what is the pattern and where are
Mm.
you lacking. Based
Right,
on the
absolutely.
questions,
Mm.
after every interview, I used
Mm.
to write my interview experience in a
Right,
notepad.
right.
I used to mark all the questions which I was unable to answer. I used to
That's a good thing.
work on that. Uh,
Mm.
so I faced the similar questions in other interviews also, but that really
Mm.
helped me of researching those, right? Uh,
Right, right, right. I'll tell you my story also. Okay, I remember the same thing. So there was one question in interview of Wingify. They asked me something related to threading. Okay, at that time. So I have also noted down that same question. And can you imagine after in browser stack last to last interview they asked me same question related to threading, and I was like, what? So of course I was able to give the answer. So it's a good thing. I think
yeah,
everyone who is watching, right, start writing your questions whatever they have asked. Okay, even if you don't know the answer, that was a failure interview, right? No worries. Probably those questions will definitely help you in somewhere in future. That's what my
true.
recommendation. Go ahead, go ahead. Yes, apart from that.
So actually, people think that I'm really not confident enough to start giving interviews, is what the people
Oh,
generally think of.
right.
The first, before getting my first offer, right, I got rejected from around 5 to 6 companies.
Oh,
I really thought of quitting my job and going to US and do a master's after
mm,
at this point of time. But
okay.
I really gave some time to myself to
Okay.
analyze and see where I am lacking.
Mm,
Then understood what are the things which I have to work on, where I was
okay.
unable to answer. Then I started getting multiple offers after this.
Okay.
So that's what I would suggest. Give enough time for you
And
yourself.
what was your how was your coding learning? Are you learning like per week basis, coding challenges you were doing per day basis, or only when interview, right? What was your
Uh,
process?
Usually, right, once you are doing automation testing job, every day
Mm.
you will code.
Right,
Some
right.
amount of code you definitely would go. I would not like. I would say whenever I want to give interviews, let's
Mm.
say 6 months or 4 months from now, I
Mm.
used to do at least two problems every day,
Two
whatever
problems
might be
every
the
day, huh?
case.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I would. It's good if you do, but you need not really do every day because anyhow you are doing coding in your day-to-day
Mm.
job, right?
Mm.
But what I suggest is like, let's say you can do the same thing with some array or something. Try
Mm.
using a different type of what I would say data structure, which would
Mm.
optimize your code, right?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
That would help you a lot.
Right,
Mm,
right, right, right. My recommendation also, okay, I would recommend at least if you can't do one day, right? I think Saturday, Sunday, pick up some time,
Yeah,
take out like at least four problems, minimum three or four problems related to arrays, strings, hash map, hash table. And there are many important topics in Java as well as in Python also. We are respectively same almost. So things like, for example, you can do with tuple, dictionary, and all
yeah,
respective data structures. Recommendation at least five per week is minimum. I would recommend all of you to do it. Keep doing it, okay? Don't stop it. What people do is they just stop it after some time. In interview,
yeah,
they are like, okay, theek, but right now I'm not searching, so I will not do questions. Okay, that's not the way I'd recommend you. If you are planning to give interview in 6 months, 4 months, as Ashwat is saying, right? Keep doing questions, even though you don't understand. Just get the logic, because in interview sometimes you will be only giving logic, right? If you don't remember, if you don't come to solution, also give them a logic. Okay, this is what my recommendation is, right? Good, good. So that's a good thing, right, Ashwin? That was great. So generally, so you have given, apart from this, you told me that you have given 8, 9 interviews also, right?
yeah.
So there also, like, how was your in mostly, if we say high level, right? In Selenium, mostly they will ask you everything. They go generally in very deep also. What do you think?
Uh, no, they won't go into. See, it always depends upon your experience level.
Right, right, right.
So since I was just 2 years experience, right? So
Mhm.
they were expecting minimum things
Right.
like let's say you just write a simple statement like WebDriver driver
Mhm.
is equal to new Chrome driver. So why did you write this? You can write Chrome driver driver is equal to new Chrome driver also.
Right, right,
So
right.
why? What's the difference between them, those things? So the
Mhm.
basic understanding, basic questions is what they will ask and expect
Mhm.
from you. So let's say, how do you do the exception handling? What are the
Mhm.
different types of exceptions and all? So those are some kind of questions which they might expect. So let's say in the similar scenario, you are clicking on a button.
Mhm.
Everything is fine. If you're doing manually, it is working.
Mhm.
You are using automation, you're using Selenium, you're using a dot click operation, it did not work. Then what will
Mhm.
you do? We have some other alternative tools to this. We can use actions class and do a
Action
click
class,
operation.
right?
Otherwise, you can
JavaScript
use JavaScript executor
execution,
and
right?
do. So that is what they would expect from you.
Mhm.
Um, one more thing I would add on is like interview experiences help me a lot.
Mhm.
Really, if you're going to attend an interview of a particular organization, go through the interview experiences from any of these websites of Gigs for Gigs or
I think
there are
Glassdoor
some
is
few
the
websites.
good
Yeah,
good one, guys.
yeah,
Very good point, Yashwant. So again, guys, what you can do is to just to reiterate what Yashwant is saying is, for example, if you are applying for Wingify, BrowseTech, Tiki anywhere, any other company, Loconav or Zeta or whatever, right? In the Glassdoor specifically, in the Geeks for Geeks nowadays in Lead Code also, and there are other websites also where Ambition Box is also there. There are 4 or 5 websites which will where people have written their own experience. What was the question they have asked, right? And luckily, I have seen many students have got the same questions in the next interview also.
yeah,
So recommended and highly recommended. If you have like 2 weeks or 1 week before that interview, right? For example, suppose you have it for Zeta only. So same type of questions. I think you should do it at least once and see on the Glassdoor ambition box what are the questions they have asked. Prepare very well, make a notes, and that's the way you will feel more confident rather than learning a new concept. Exactly, you don't know. For example, suppose you have no idea about TestNG, right? I would suggest not to do it. Research on these questions first, because here probably you will get more important questions which are important. So again, it depends upon company to company wise, but recommendation. This is what we have tried it. Okay, Yashwant, let's do one more thing. Okay, what
okay.
about the man? How was your manager round? Okay, okay. I think many people miss this manager round or HR round whenever we had, right? Many people get rejected on that point of view. I have seen it
Yeah,
people
yeah.
time. What is your strategy on that? If they ask you related to those questions.
So typically manager rounds either are in two categories you can say. Either
Mm.
it's just for a namesake round,
Right.
just they will ask you basic questions, nothing technical. Okay.
Mm.
Otherwise it goes completely technical. Okay.
Right.
The questions they ask are very strange and interesting you can say. Uh,
Mm.
so let's say they gave me a small puzzle. Okay.
Mm.
So there is a Rubik's cube. All
Mm.
of the sides of the Rubik's cube are in same color. You
Mm.
need to identify how many cubes are in one-sided colored or two-sided colored, which has no sided colored. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
So for this, you need not have any coding knowledge or something. You use your common sense, right?
Mm.
So those kind of questions come up. So I had another question as well, like of how do you optimize running your code, right?
Mm.
So let's say. or you can answer of this kind. The one is you can use parallel testing,
Hmm.
right? And then you can use some design patterns which should reduce the complexity or the time taken to run. Then you can move, so you can use headless execution for your test cases.
Right, right, right.
Then every test case need not be executed using UI. So
Hmm.
if you have an API available, why don't you use API? So
Hmm.
all of these would this is just an example which I wanted to illustrate, right? So, what kind of questions they would generally ask? The one more thing I commonly see is like they ask you what is the reason for changing. Okay.
Hmm. That's a good thing.
Um,
Yes.
so you can be honest. So again, everyone knows what's going on because
Hmm.
what you see either there if you don't have a learning in your current organization, otherwise you're getting paid less than what you are made for. Then
Money
you
motivation
can
again.
yeah you can definitely say them that these are the reasons. In my case, right? Since
Hmm.
my last 2 years, they haven't given a pay hike because of
Right, right,
COVID and all.
right.
So I genuinely said that this is the reason, and apart from this, I wanted to move to this particular tech stack. This is where
Hmm.
my interest lies.
Hmm.
So you can give your state your reasons.
Hmm.
You need not fake that I want more challenging work, or that would create unnecessary problems to you. They will ask
That's
you.
I also I recommend. Okay, people try to create question answers. I mean, because I am too much passionate, I want to go get more challenging work. No, no, no.
Yeah,
Clearly, you can say.
it really looks fake
Hmm.
from your end.
Right, right. It
So
should
yeah,
be very straightforward. Okay. I think that's the easiest way, right? Manage it, right? You told us, right? There are questions mostly. There are two types of, first of all. First one is fake one, which is just to check. And the second one is actually actual one, where they are actually
yeah,
want you to see teamwork also. Okay. Because I remember
mm,
maximum time where they will ask you questions like, okay, for example, suppose there is a girl with you who's working, right? And she's not working right now, and you are helping her, right? And
yeah,
your task is getting affected because you are
true,
also
true.
helping her, right? How do you handle these scenarios, right? Those are many times I have asked this question. Okay, so the answer for this
Yeah.
is very simple, guys. You will not help anyone else until your task is done. Okay, please remember, this is the most important thing.
So
Okay.
other one is like they'll ask if there is any conflict between you and your teammate, but
Hmm.
you need to work with him.
Hmm.
How will you work with
Right, right,
him?
absolutely.
If you are given a deadline of very short span,
Right.
then but still you should complete the task. Like what's your call? How will you approach that?
Right, right.
So that's what are the
So
common questions
answer
it
for
was.
all these kind of question is, I'll tell you what is the hack. Hack is, answer to this question is always should be beneficial for company. That's it. Okay. So in a nutshell, it will be like, okay, even though Yashwant and me, we have a fight for each other, but we'll definitely deliver everything on time. We will respect our professionalism and we'll fight another time, or probably like this only, because it is beneficial for company. That should be your answer. Okay, just to give you everyone. Okay, because these things you will definitely find. Okay, this, and I have seen people getting rejected on these kind of answers. Okay, there was one question somebody asked. Okay, so suppose there's a group of people, 4 5 people we have, and one person is basically lagging in any kind of work, and you are doing very amazing work. So what you will do? That person told him, okay, I will do his work also, and they rejected that work, that person. Okay? So pay attention to this. Okay, don't be too genuine. Just say that beneficial for company. That's it. Okay.
Yeah, you should always say an answer which the manager is expecting from you.
Exactly,
Uh,
exactly the things. Okay, that's the most important thing. Okay, so Yashwant, my question to you next is, what should be the recommendation of any person who has 3 years of experience right now and he is
Okay.
preparing right now? Okay, for automation. Of course, see, companies like Zeta and everything, right? They are very high. I mean, the bar of interviews questions is high. There are three type of companies. You all know. We have a very good companies. We have medium level, and then we have MNCs mostly with their automation profile, right? So what about this lower level and mid level? How should anyone should prepare for this? I mean, see, not everyone can learn so much of DSA, right? You
True,
know,
true.
right?
Yeah,
Because few people only can do it. Mostly, I have seen it also. What
yeah.
should be your thoughts?
So what my suggestion is like,
Mm.
so now if you really want to move to automation,
Mm.
coding is must. You
Okay.
cannot escape from that.
Right.
So whatever might be the level of coding you are, it is
Mm.
okay. But
Mm.
coding is must. Okay.
Mm.
You need not learn every. question which is available over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just go through what are the most commonly asked, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can just go through them.
Mm-hmm.
If you are coming from a Java background, I would really suggest you to look at Java collections framework.
Mm-hmm.
Many questions come up from Java collections. There
Collections.
won't be any interview without asking you Java collections a question, I would say.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Then Java oops is one of the important thing I would say.
Mm-hmm.
We because so they might ask you questions like how is oops, which is used in Selenium, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that are the basic things I would say. Arrays and strings are enough if you are focusing on basic, I mean, medium level or service-based organization, right?
Right,
Uh,
right, right.
so apart from this, have a understanding on what kind of product you are working. Many
Mm.
people work in the organization without knowing what is the product,
Right,
why are
right.
they working. They just know what is the input, what is the output. Okay, if you do
Mm.
this operation, this output comes. But that doesn't work in the interviews. They will expect you to know what minimum this application does. Why,
Mm.
what is this organization doing with this application? So
Right.
that basic understanding is there. So if you are lacking at some point, right, you should be very strong with others. So if you're
Mm.
weak at coding, you should be very strong with either how you are explaining your project of your
Mm.
company. See, rest of the things are easy. Like if you say Git comments,
Mm.
you can take 2 or 3 days to understand what are all the Git comments, how they are working.
Right,
So
right,
at
right.
any point of time, the interviewer should get impressed at
Right,
somewhere or the other place.
right,
So
right.
then he will be in a opinion that okay, if we give some training to this guy, or if
Mm.
we give some direction to this guy, he will be able to work on it. So
Exactly
that's
the
kind of
same.
an impression you should give.
Makes sense, makes sense. So to add to Ashwant, right, guys, what exactly he's saying is exactly that I recommend also, right? Many, not everyone will be good in coding, right? But there are two other things also, right? API automation and Selenium also, and talking about your projects also, right? So you can win in these situations also, right?
Yeah,
I'm telling you with experience also, right? This Yashwant now knows about in 2 years only this thing, but I have taken like 12 years to learn this concept. That's what I'm telling you. Even if you are weak in or weak in sometimes in coding, right? No worries. In API automation, you can pick it up. In Selenium, you can pick it up, right? Or in other explaining your project, you can pick it up, right? Not every question probably you will not able to answer, but last questions you can pick it up, right? Your interviews, you can mold your interviews, that thing.
yeah,
So this comes with the number of questions and number of interviews. The more you give interviews, the more it will be good, right? What do you think, Ash?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. Interview giving is must. So that's where you analyze and learn like what is lacking, right?
Right, right.
Based on that only you can. It gives you a direction, okay,
Hmm.
where you should focus on more.
And what was your resume, right? You probably heard this, right? Right now, people say that my resume is not getting selected. What is the reason? What do you think on that point?
Uh,
What is the
uh,
primary
s-
mistake people are making in
I
resume
would
selecting?
say your resume, let's say for 2 or 3 years of experience of tester, you
Hmm.
should always have a single page resume.
Single page,
Okay.
okay. Hmm.
So whichever is your latest career, where you are working on in the
Project, okay.
organization,
Hmm.
highlight that. Okay.
Hmm.
You can have a single line experience of rest of your career experiences, but
Hmm.
have a proper explanation of use. You can use ChatGPT and many technologies have come up. Take a sample template of someone's who's a good resume, who's got
Hmm. Hmm.
shortlisted to good organizations, right? You
Right,
can
right,
take
right.
his template. You
Hmm.
can cater that to you according to your experiences and your strengths, right?
Right, right.
So the first thing I would suggest is keep your LinkedIn profile, keep your GitHub profile, keep your LeetCode profile. That would really boost,
Right.
right? Apart from that, if you are, it's up to you whether you want to give an objective or not.
Hmm.
If it is not there, also it is okay. The first category should come up is your experiences. Okay,
Hmm.
it might be internship, it might be professional experience, but keep them. The second best thing should come up is your technology stack.
Hmm.
You might not work on them, but
Hmm.
definitely put them if you have at least minimum confidence in them. Do
Right.
not keep everything which is available. Okay,
Hmm.
you are working in Selenium. You just heard a word about Cypress or Playwright.
Hmm.
Just because you know this technology exists, do not keep those. It will create unnecessary questions to you again.
Right,
Okay.
right, right. Hmm.
Then understand. Look at the JD of the
Company.
job which you are applying to.
Right, right.
You have to tailor your resume such that you should get there should be no reason for you to reject, right? They
Right, right,
should you should add all the skills which they are expecting. That
right,
doesn't mean the ones which you don't know. Okay,
right, right, right.
leaving them, you should write these. And apart from this, definitely I would suggest build your own framework. Framework
Mm,
building is not that difficult. If you don't know also, you can watch any tutorial or any YouTube is completely free. You can watch from YouTube as well. There are
mm,
many people who clearly explain how do you build a framework from scratch. Okay,
mm,
if you don't understand also, I mean,
mm,
don't know how to build it also, just
mm.
understand how it is going on. Okay,
Right, right,
that
right,
will
right.
really help you a lot. Include your main project, a pet project, in
Mm.
your project section. I think this would make up your one page of resume. This would be more
Right,
than
right.
sufficient.
Okay. One thing where Yashwant has highlight, right, guys? So generic resume, please don't create it. Okay, generic resumes don't work. If you have a job description one, create a resume which will match with this job description one. If you have another job, for example, if you are applying for Zeta, resume will be little different. If I'm applying for Browse Tech, it will be little different. It will match with that job description. Okay, that is the most important thing nowadays. Application tracking system, right? ATS, all of them generally see this, and all of them are smart. So don't use same resume again and again. It will not work 99% of the time. Okay. And yeah,
Think of
cool.
this way. So for the same job, around apart from you, around 2,000 people or 1,000 people are applying. How will you uniquely describe yourself
Mm,
from others?
mm,
Right. One more thing I would say is like, how do you search for your job?
right,
That's
right.
important thing most people ask.
Mm,
So there are two major platforms I would suggest.
mm,
First thing is Naukri, and the second thing is LinkedIn.
mm,
Okay.
mm.
So Naukri, you have to complete your 100% of your profile.
100% profile. Okay.
Okay. Then you can every day add some changes. Okay.
Mm.
So if you're actively looking for a job, every day add some changes to your
Keep
profile.
changes na
Uh,
so that it will
uh,
be
it
updated
might be
again and again.
anything.
Mm,
It might be a new skill or something.
mm, mm,
Even in Naukri also, there are some tests you can take up. So like
mm.
there is a Java test or a SQL test.
Right, right,
This
right.
will basically highlight your profile to the recruiters. You can do it every day morning, like at 8 o'clock or something, such
Mm.
that your profile comes at the top when the recruiter starts looking for the person for hiring, right?
Right, right. Makes sense.
Uh,
Makes sense.
and apart from
So
this, LinkedIn is like
LinkedIn, right?
the
Mm,
best thing, the best platform. LinkedIn helped me a lot. Even
mm.
the job which I'm working as of now, I got it through LinkedIn only.
Okay.
Okay, so in LinkedIn, there is a concept called jobs. There is a
Mm,
tab. So
mm.
where you can search with some keywords,
Right,
automation engineer or QA engineer
right, right,
or
right.
estate. So based on that, according to your location preference, you can just at least you can know what are the jobs available to me at this point of time. Okay,
Makes sense.
so
Makes sense. Mm.
once you know, okay, this set of jobs are available to me, do not definitely directly apply to those jobs. Always
Mm.
ask for a referral. Referral will definitely give you a lot of edge over
Mm.
directly applying. Okay.
That's why I'll
Uh,
highly recommend don't apply directly, guys. Don't apply. It doesn't 99%, no, not 90% it won't work. Directly, if you apply on LinkedIn, right, not work. Find common people wherever they are, ask them politely.
yeah.
Maximum time they
One
will help you. Okay.
One more hack I would say is like, see, always who are the people hiring? Either the manager level or the lead level, or
Mm.
those people are the guys who are hiring, right?
Right, right, right.
So start with SDET 3 or lead SDET or QA manager of that particular company. Okay.
Mm.
You can just give a connection request to them. Okay. If
Right,
you
right.
at least create a general template for yourself, like
Mm.
uh, how should you ask a referral? You can just
Mm.
change the name, the org name, and
Makes sense.
the profile name.
Right, right.
Always don't never be lazy. Give your job link or the
Mm.
job ID and
Mm.
along with your resume. Okay.
Right.
If you ping 10 people, at least I would say three to four at least will give you a referral. Okay.
Mm.
There are
Mm.
many scenarios people say that you are already referred by someone else. So that's
Mm.
how it should be. Okay.
Mm.
Mm,
So basically, keep on trying, guys. On LinkedIn, the funda is very simple. What Rashwant is highlighting also, right? Don't directly apply. What you can do is find the people who are manager, or for example, you can find lead or QA lead, QA manager, who else, right? Send them a request also. Uh, what you can do, send them job ID, your resume, cover letter, everything, so that they don't have any thing which is remaining, right? So that they have everything, they will apply if they think that. Okay, nine maximum number of time. Okay,
Mm.
that makes sense. That was a good thing.